Today we're going to be adding and balancing a new creature. And that creature is the Gremlin Sergeant. Now this is just some placeholder art, some programmer art. I gave him a hat, the Gremlin Brute. This creature will, the final art will have an axe and some more armor. But I'm in the middle of the process now of adding this creature, so I thought, why not go through that process of adding and balancing this creature? Because when you think about it, in a game, especially a game like a roguelike where you have a lot of statistics, there's a lot of numbers to assign to each creature. That's their movement speed, their armor, their damage, how fast they attack, life gain, on hit effects. And the question is how to fit in a new creature, a new design, to make sure it's not too hard and make sure it's not too easy, and that it makes that it's engaging to play against, and it also fits into the game world. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to give this new Gremlin Sergeant some stats and test it out and just go through that process together. When designing anything, the first question is, what is the goal? What are we trying to do? So let's kill this Gremlin Sergeant. Let's just talk about this faction. So let's start with the low-level units. That is the Flinger and the Grunt. What do we have here? These are the two weaker creatures. They were some of the first creatures in the Doors of Trithyius. And their basic function is to introduce the player to combat. So we have a ranged unit, the Gremlin Flinger, which throws rocks, level 3. And we have a Grunt, level 3, and he also has a slight chance for bleed wounds to get the player introduced to bleed. Now, so these are the low-level intro creatures. If you have enough armor on, I have full soldier's gear on. They barely even do damage. This rock thrower, he's just hitting me for 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Now, if we go up the food chain, we want to start adding some more variety. Then comes the Shaman. So the Shaman is, now we're adding debuffs and spells to the game. This Shaman, actually, I've been working on him. He has a new spell, actually. He can he can put a curse on the ground, an AoE curse. So now we're getting some more complicated effects, and he'll also debuff me. Where is it? There is a debuff. And the purpose of these creatures, the way to think about them is we want them to be, number one, clear. We want the player to be able to look at the creature and see what it does and get like there's a clear visual identity. So it doesn't feel unfair when there's some effect. When this guy puts a curse on me, a hex, it doesn't feel that unfair because there's a bit of an indication he has magic powers because of his staff. When this guy throws rocks at me, it feels fair because he's got a bundle of rocks on his back. And the other goal, not just visual clarity, the second goal is we want them to be able to layer well, because the player is going to be fighting a lot of these creatures, and we want it to feel different when I'm fighting, say, a Shaman with a Flinger versus a Shaman with a Grunt. So that it's almost like cards in a deck, that every time you draw a hand, it feels a little different, even though you've seen those same cards. So those are some of the goals here with adding creatures, is clarity and that they layer well. So looking at some of the other existing creatures, we have the Brute. So this is the high health, slow moving Gremlin. He is actually also getting a new ability where he can wind up. I don't know if he'll do it. He'll wind up for a huge attack. And he also introduces a new wound, cripple, and has stun. And I think in the previous version, this is all the Gremlins you'll find, also the Chief. There's a bunch of new ones coming. But the one we're working on today is the Sergeant. So the question is, how does this Sergeant, who will have an axe, how does he slot into this mix? Well, what he does is he has a stacking damage. So what he'll do is every turn he attacks you, he gets plus 25% damage. And this is introducing a new effect, which is that just sitting there swinging is not always optimal anymore against this unit, where you might want to back off, or you kill him really quick, or you kite him and keep making space. And that the purpose there is to try to give the player autonomy and different ways to fight him, and also that he can mix well with other creatures, because other creatures you might not want to run away, and you'll have to make some tough decisions. What we're looking at now is an export of all the stats of all the monsters in the game. I believe I've shown this once before on this channel. Also on this page is not just all the creature's stats, but some heuristics, some calculations. There's 3 numbers calculated here: a defense score, an offense score, and a mobility score. And all of these are used to create a final score value, which is an estimation of what the creature's level should be, ish. Now, these calculations aren't perfect. They're approximations. But because of the complexity of the stats and all the possible variations, that's fine. Like, there's no other way to do it than with a heuristic and getting some game feel sense of it. You can't, there's too many values once you start calculating, like armor pen versus armor, effective damage, on-hit effects. It's very hard. So this is a heuristic, and it seemed to serve well it seemed to do well, and especially once all these numbers were calculated, they matched up with the existing levels quite well. So that shows that the heuristic is close to our own instincts, because we started using this like halfway through, and the levels that output almost perfectly fit the curve. There's some differences here. You can see, look at Turnham. He calculates it at level 27, and we have him at 38. That's because the Turnham has a bunch of abilities, really powerful abilities that aren't shown here. Now let's sort this sheet and take a look at our gremlins. Okay. So what are we looking at? We are looking at, we talked about the Gremlin Grunt and Looter, both level 3. We've talked about, and then we have the Shaman, level 5, 3, 5. And the Brute, also level 5. And now we want to add the, Gremlin Looter's a new guy. I meant the Flinger. And the Flinger, you can see, has a lower score. That's because it's hard to take into account the value of range. All right, so now we want to slot into here a more powerful creature. This Sergeant, who has a axe attack, which builds up damage over time. How do we do that? Okay. Well, the first thing is, where is our Sergeant? The first thing is, here he is, Sergeant. We need to decide what level he should be. The one in the game code right now, I have him at level 11. That's a bit of a too much jump, I think. So we go 5. So Flingers 3, Grunts 3, Shaman 5, Brute 5. We want him slightly stronger than that. So let's put him at, let's say 8, level 8. Well, now we need to consider how we're going to align his stats. And for first pass, what I like to do is we just put down some first stats. So we go, let's consider him. He wouldn't be hugely tanky. So 100 health is what a human has, and what you can consider getting more difficulty. And if we compare it to previous creatures, the Brute has 68 health. I don't know if he actually would have more than the Brute. Let's give him, say, maybe 60 health. So it should be more than the Shaman. Maybe a little more. He is stronger than the Brute, so he is a Sergeant. So we'll go 80. And here I'm just doing a first pass on instinct, and then we're going to see what the heuristic says about his score. Because you got to start somewhere. And if we want to get it perfect the first time, we'll never get anywhere. So 80 life. He's slower. I imagine him like a bit slower than average. He's a big guy, but he is an axe, and I think when I think about an axe wielder, I think a little bit faster than like a hammer wielder. He's a big guy, but he's not the slowest. So let's put him at like slightly slower than average. We'll go 90. So that's minus 10% move speed than normal. The same as a Fort Chief, actually. The same as a Grunt. Huh. Maybe we should have him a little faster than a Grunt. We'll go 95. The default dodge in all creatures is 5%. I don't imagine this guy being super speedy or hard to hit. Let's leave that for now. Physical resistance is a tough one. It can have quite a huge effect. So we have the Grunt, for example, is 8%. So 5 to 8% is typical. And you want all creatures to have some physical resist, so armor actually has a meaning, like a base amount. And damage doesn't feel wildly all over the place. If like some creatures have 0 and then suddenly get 50% armor pen, it can be too much variance. It's better like to have the more armor they look like they have, you slightly increase it, and you so that as you play, you unconsciously build a sense of what armor means and what it looks like. Oh, here we'll go. I think I had 16%, and that feels about right. Like if we look at what the player gets, so like just a soldier's plate alone is 21% physical resist. We can consider like a weak set of leathery armor would be like about that. It's like a leather body in the game is 15, so we just basically we're pretending this sergeant has like one good piece of leather. We'll put that at 16. We'll give him 1 protection. Protection is extremely powerful. Why does he get protection? Just because it's a way to make him slightly stronger against fast attacks like shivs or daggers. Because protection just is flat reduction. Therefore, we want... I think it's good for some of the higher level units, especially the big ones, not to die as easily to many fast attacks. And in this way, we're like, give me a tiny buff to larger or slower attacking weapons. Healing is an interesting one. A lot of creatures don't have any healing per turn. I think this guy could have a little bit of healing. So if you leave and come back, he would have healed slightly. I think 0.25 sounds about right. And you can see as I'm editing these numbers, the values are automatically updating. Can I zoom in here? Hopefully that's a little easier to see. So we give him 0.25 healing a turn. That means in 4 turns, he'll have 1 health. So if you like move to the other side of the dungeon and back, maybe that's 100 turns. So he would get like 20 health or whatever, 25 health. Which would basically he'd be healed up again. It also slightly counteracts bleeds. Now, so the game is currently putting him at 5.6 estimated and level 8. So he definitely needs some more. Let's look at the damages. If we go min and max damage, he is an axe. So like, I think using existing things is a great way to get a starting point. So hardened battle axe, 22 to 27. This is a pretty good two-handed axe in the game that the player can wield. What's the weaker one called? Axe. A double-headed axe, I think it's called. Yeah, 18 to 23. So I don't think he should have as much damage as like a good axe that the player would have, but he should definitely be higher. So what would like a weaker gremlin axe be? Probably like at least 16 damage. So we'll give him like 16 to 20. And axes don't typically have a lot of armor pen, so we'll reduce his armor pen. A lot of them have 15. Why is everyone getting 15% armor pen? Oh yeah, the shaman has armor pen, okay. The grunt has none, the general gets some. I don't think axes should be hugely penetrating. I think good armor should be effective against the gremlins. We'll put that at like... give him maybe like 10%. What does that compare to the shaman? I'm just doing a comparison here. Like how much? The flinger's got 40%. I think that's fine. Let's go 12. Accuracy. Axes aren't terribly accurate. We could actually potentially reduce this, though it makes him very weak to dodge builds. And that's the question now, is we've got to really answer. We can't just... we have to answer what's his role. Is dodge good against this guy? I think it could be. I think he could be slightly less accurate. And we can put it at 70%. And it's a two-handed axe, so he's not going to attack that fast. Let's put it at like 90 attack speed. Axes don't have great crit, typically. We'll put... we can actually put him at like 1% crit, or even 0. Well, like 1% crit. Repeat attack is the chance to do a double hit. That's usually for shivs or special abilities. We won't give many of that. No stun chance. And no cripple chance. That's from that was left over from a copy paste of his stats. And he's now at 7.1 score, and that's largely because of the big damage increase. So we can give him a little bit more. What he should probably get is bleed. Now there's a lot of bleed in the game. I don't want too much, but he does have an axe, and axes are good for bleed. So we'll give him like a 5% chance to bleed, I guess. Now you have to imagine a fight. The faster attacking it is, the more chances there are for a bleed. So the slower speed, the higher bleed chance we can give him. So we'll go 5%-ish. And so that's like my going by my gut here for first pass. And that gives us a very close score, 7.2 expected versus 8. He's got a bit of minus because of the slower speed. Good offense, 26 offense score. Or, yeah, defense, 114. Works out to 7.2. All right, so let's then enter these in and try them out in game and see how that goes. Data file. One thing I didn't mention is there's also some other slightly hidden stats like line of sight. Gremlins tend to be not very far seeing, which I like, so it allows sneaking around them and not always immediately aggroing. This guy I think we should up a little bit to 8, sorry. And there's another stat in the game called variation, which is every creature that spawns, all of their stats are slightly modified within a percent of variation. So 8% variation would mean up to plus or minus 8% life, physical resist, protection, everything. So technically he could have like 1.08. But for testing, we obviously want to remove that. And also the higher level creatures shouldn't have too much variation because you can get some craziness if you got a really unlucky roll. Well, maybe that's good. Yeah, so this is what it looks like in a data file. Something I almost forgot was the ability. Before we start testing, we want to give him his special ability, which is the stacking effect. Now, I wanted it to reset if he doesn't attack for even one turn, so you could knock him back and then all his stacks are gone. That actually turned out to be quite tricky because it would require a trigger, and monsters currently can't have triggers. So the way I did it is simpler. What I did is just on every attack, he will use this ability called stacking, and he applies a status effect to himself, and it just lasts 10 turns. So I don't even know if it's the worst. Just to have a status effect that lasts 10 turns. Because then he can build up his stacks, and then if you knock it back or move away, it takes a few turns for them to slowly disappear and reset him back to normal. So you might like let him swing 5 times and then back away and wait 10 turns and then try to hit him again. 10 turns might be a bit long, actually. Well, we'll try this out. And to indicate this effect, because it's a pretty special effect, I gave it a trait. And traits are, well, let me show you in game. Traits are these little icons, which help explain unique behavior to the player, make it more fair. For stacking right now, it's this is stacked icons I got from GameIcons.net. I kind of like how it's an actual stack, but the problem is, I don't know, maybe a sword or something actually aggressive looking would be cooler here. Why does he have stun? I didn't give him stun chance. Why does he have stun? Oh, we need to respawn him? There we go. So he's got a little bit of bleed and his stacking effect. Let's test the stacking. Here, he hits me. There, stacking attacks is now his status effect. So if he hits me again, he should have ×2. Oh, we need to... Okay, it needs a fix. The effect that actually applies to him, it needed to allow many. By default, status effects do not stack. All right, so let's test this guy out. Now I am in full soldier's gear with a very good shield, so he's not going to hit me for much. There we go, hits me for 3. Stacking attacks, hits me for 3 ×2. Hits me for 17. That's a big crit. And he only has, what did we give him, like 1% crit? And now, oops, let's inspect him. And his current damage is plus 20%, which is right. Now he's at up to 4 stacks, plus 30. Oh, his stats don't recalculate to the start of his turn. That's fine. So he actually, next time he hits me, it'll be 40. So now he's hitting 5, 5, 5. Oh. Oh, it caps out at 5 stacks. There's a rule in the game you can't get more than 5 of the same status effect. Wow. I guess this is going to end up being a ride along for debugging. Swan Weber spider. And that was to fix the reason they can only have up to 5. That was to fix the problem where these guys have a slow effect. See this? And the problem was if you were fighting too many, you actually get like 1,000 of these and you're like stuck in an infinite loop. But this is kind of cool that as we pass turns, he's slowly losing his stacks. He's fighting the spider. And now it should ramp back up again. Huh. Oh, he got 2 more from the spider. Yeah, I don't know if I like this 10-turn cooldown thing. It seems kind of weird. So he hits me 3 times. And now he just gets the stacking attacks for... That seems weird. It should reset. That or it needs to be renamed like Rampage or something. Yeah, that's weird. Huh. Might need some engine work to support a trigger. Okay, well, I'll play it some more. We're back, and I've fixed the Gremlin Sergeant stacking effect and did it properly. It didn't feel right lasting for all those turns. So now it has this effect, which is checked every turn. The status is applied, and it just checks if that entity has attacked last turn. If they haven't, then we remove it. And here's how that looks in game. So he comes at me. There's no status effect. Swings. Stacking attacks is there. We've got our tooltip. And he hits us for 2. So he hits again. 2 stacking attacks. Still a 2. I have a lot of armor. Now it's a 4. 3 stacking attacks. 4, 5, and the damage is just slowly going up. And if we just move 1 tile away, it resets. And I'm really happy with that. I think it's much more strategic, deciding if you're going to keep hitting him or moving. And it forces you to move. Like, if you want to door camp against this, if I'm like trying to hold a door, well, that's a big damage boost. So the next thing I want to do is test this some more. You can see that with soldier armor, this is like the heaviest armor in the game and has major setbacks. So this would be like mid-game. After you've gotten through the first set of crappy armor, you get to eventually soldiers, which is tier 2. I should say I'm doing... Yeah, tier 1 is the worst, the way I'm thinking about it. So tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the best. This is tier 2. And on tier 2, he's hitting 3s, and he has a reasonable chance to bleed us. These guys, these gremlins, I mean, he's only level 11. I thought we changed that to 8. Oh well, he should be level 8. So, hitting 3s and 4s seems reasonable so far. Just one-on-one testing. Let's try with leather armor. This is light armor, so instead of heavy. Let's see what he hits with, oops, with full. Let's say I'm playing like some rogue character, and we'll give him a, like, say, some two-handed. Some like, what's a two-handed sword? This is a late game item, but okay, let's see what he hits. So now he's hitting like a 9, and like that's like 10% of our health. That's a chunky hit. But he is missing. Remember, he has that lower dodge. Wow, he misses a lot. So my dodge is bad accuracy. Oh yeah, I'm inept. My dodge chance is 35% with this gear. So 35% minus his accuracy means he misses a lot. But when he hits, it's a big hit. Honestly, I don't mind that. That seems about right for a dodge build. Seems about right. Let's just let's give ourselves a leather again. Unequip the shield. Spawn the sergeant. Let's see who wins just a straight one up. Got like a reasonably good sword. No skills, no passives really. Give myself some random passives. Like level 5. So 10. Oh, he's hitting me hard. 20. Nice hit. Wow, I'm getting unlucky rolls. So this time he's... oh, and then he's dead. So I got pretty unlucky rolls there. I still killed him one-on-one, and this is like a level 5-ish character. Like, and leather armor is tier 1. So this is some of the lowest armor in the game, but full dodge build. And it seemed to do reasonably well. Like, it took a chunk of our health. Which is about what we want. It's about what we want for this character. I'm feeling pretty good. So what am I hitting on him? This is a good sword. Like, let's try a crappier sword. Let me just look in the item list so we can do this properly. Just open up an item list. Got it in a spreadsheet here. Let's try like a ball mace. Let's see. Place your bets. Skill, mace, might give us some skill. Legends, give us some stats to test it with. Give us some accuracy and whatnot. Some stun chance. All right, let's try. Big hit, 19. So I hit a 19 on him. I mean, that's already like a third of his health. And we got the true damage from our ability. We're just destroying him. Wow. So with the mace, some good dodges and abilities, we just cleaned up. I would say that's almost too easy. How do we make him a little harder? I think he maybe needs a bit more tankiness. What's up his tankiness? Let's have a look at this. What if we give him a bit more, because his accuracy is not great. Give a bit more like physical resist, say 20. And up his life. Let's try that. 90. 90 life, 20%. Let's give that a try. All right, I'm going to do some testing. This was just showing what it looks like. Obviously, it could go on a long time, but gives you the idea. Probably we'll come back and maybe we'll try him out mixing up with some other enemies. Here we are. I'm in a Gremlin Fortress. I've given myself some starting gear, bit of bread, bandages, splints, tier 1 medium armor, which has pretty good resistance. Gives me some nice bleed resist as well. And level 10. Give myself a level 10. So this is about a level 10 character would have-ish. And 10 in blades and daggers. So let's eat up some bread here. Debug point there. Let's eat some bread. Get the food going, and I've spawned a reasonably difficult room here where we have a sergeant and some enemies. Let's see. The game won't have sound. I don't know if that comes through, but let's see how this goes. This fight should be reasonably hard. Not easy. Oh, we lost. I think some of our enemies wandered away. We have 2 ranged units and our sergeant. So the sergeant actually doesn't see us yet because he has, what vision do we give him? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're 9 away. So now he should see us. We lost the shaman. Let's just spawn him again. I want to fight the room. Oh man, right next to me. Okay. Let's I'm gonna actually I'm going to reset. I'm going to teleport. Okay, reset. So I come around here. I walk into the room. I see them all. All right, Shaman attacks me first. Let's take him out. 1,000 cuts. Got the Hex on the floor. So it does 6 damage. Oh, that's quite a bit. We got to get out of here. Oof. Oh, I like this. I like this fight. I'll use my AoE ability here. Let's go with the take out the Shaman first. He should be low. Nice. So we've taken 70 health. That's definitely reasonable. Now we have a decision. Who do we want to fight next? So the Gremlin Sergeant has built up 2 stacking attacks. Let's move back. We can't step on those beds. That's right. Let's run away and use our speed. We should be able to get a tile distance. Also, we would have jump at this point, so let's give ourselves jump. Oh, I don't have enough energy to jump. Oh no. Oh no, I'm gonna die. All right, we'll use our backup restoring vial. This guy's been walking, so he doesn't have his stacks anymore. Let's debilitate him. Debilitating swipe. 3 hits. Oh man, maybe he's too tanky. Debilitate him again. Boom, he's dead. Got a bit of gold there. Time to take out the little guys. And I gain a level. Okay. Now, is this a weak character or a strong character? I think that's a reasonable... So the question is, like, would a character be level 10 here? That might be level 20. How easy would this be at level 20? It's hard to say. But in terms of game feel, that seemed about what I want. That was a reasonably challenging room. And with level 10 abilities, average armor, average gear, it took about most of my health and I needed to use a potion. So I will leave it there. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. A different style of video. Probably this will be a pretty long one. If you got to here, thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos.